I've just realised how these little strips of tape here look suspiciously like police tape, as if there have been some horrendous crimes committed behind these holes. I don't really want to know what sort of horrendous crimes you could create using a hole like that, but never mind any of that inane rambling. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Manic Miners.
Breathless.
Is, I suppose, what we're going to be doing first.
Are you ready for some more action? An earthquake has caused several cave-ins. Our scanners detect that 3 of our rock raiders have been trapped in caverns. Quickly build up our rock raider HQ and prepare a search party to find and rescue the trapped men. Some of your rock raiders should be trained to use dynamite, and others should be trained as geologists at the geological center. You must work quickly to find the lost rock raiders before the air runs out and they are forced to teleport out. Remember that we are still very low on energy crystals, and the teleport station aboard the LMS Explorer is not working properly. So if they do have to teleport out, we don't know where they would end up.
Very scary indeed. Right. Rumours say that Jet can play the clarinet, which is quite impressive, given that with a Lego person's hands it's extremely hard to get your hands in front of your mouth, but never mind any of that. Right. This is spooky. I must begin this video. I must have begun this video ages ago, actually. No, I should begin this video, actually, with an apology. You're going to have to put up with a lot of info. Hang on, why is that reinforced? We haven't bloody started yet. You're going to have to put up with an awful lot of irritating clicking during this video, and that is because I am secretly an insectoid invader and I cannot suppress it any longer. No, my mouse, the usual mouse that I use, the left mouse button on it is broken, so I can't actually click on anything. So I've had to dig out this old knackered, well, less knackered actually, wired one, which I use for the XP computer, because the XP computer for some bizarre reason will not use wireless mice, but it's very clicky, clickety. One of the reasons I very much like the old mouse that I had is that it's very quiet, which means you can't hear the infernal clicking on the mouse the whole way through. I could have sworn that used to be a seam back in the old days, but maybe I'm going crazy, or maybe that happened years ago and I simply haven't noticed. One or the other. We've got plenty of air, so that probably shouldn't be a problem. Yes, I presume, however, that if you're this far into this series, you don't give a rat's ass what kind of rubbish you have to listen to, given that you've listened to me drivel on for hours upon end. So I figure we'll get away with it for one video before the replacement mouse turns up, which I did order some quite considerable time ago, and yet for some bizarre reason the courier company have been very tardy about its delivery and have been faffing me about for quite a while. I really wouldn't think it'd be so difficult to transport a small cardboard box with a mouse in it, but hey ho, I don't claim to be a logistical genius. So perhaps it's more complicated than it really seems. You know, picking things up and moving them from one place to another is, after all, an extremely Herculean task. Anyway, I'm not in the slightest bit grumpy or bitter about the fact that I've been waiting forever for this ruddy mouse to turn up. You never realise how dependent you are on a simple, tiny piece of technology until it's taken away from you. But never mind any of that rubbish. We've got games to play and daft commentary to make. I am wondering how this is going to go, because the way I would always do this mission is to... That was a really stupid place to put that, wasn't it? Because that's just gonna get blown up completely. If I just pause you for a moment, then that building won't be able to be completed, and then it won't get damaged when the dynamite goes off. There we are. That's better. Anything exciting? No, not really at all. Yeah, it's because how I would do this back in olden times is to make a support station so that I've got enough air to just find the men in a very lackadaisical fashion. Although, now that I say that, that doesn't really make any sense, because this is not how this used to go. This used to go that way. No more. Those crystals will be invaluable, but, I mean, they're always valuable. Additionally so. Is that piece supposed to have fallen over? Like a book on a shelf in an earthquake? Presumably not. It does strike me that I don't understand how a support station here could generate air in a cavern that is completely sealed off. That has the lost men in it. Never mind. Oh, blimey! You've rescued your Grand Grinder. You should be able to leap over the nearby river using its ability. Get a driver and click on the highlighted area to leap to it. Alright, if you insist, then that is what I will do. I do, with the severity of the situation we're currently in, take some issue to you saying rescued the Granite Grinder. I feel like recovered should be a better word. I feel like rescued should be reserved for people and kittens stuck up trees and that sort of thing, rather than mole man machines. But what do I know? The answer to that is that we're going to boing. Indeed. Right. This should speed things up considerably. And we can see if we can find this cavern, which... It can't just be as simple as just meandering down this corridor and then we'll find it. Because they've clearly changed them. What the hell was that noise? Take this down the ruddy garage, don't I? Yeah, it can't be that simple, because they changed the corridor, or cavern rather, down that other corridor, so I somehow doubt that this is going to be tremendously simple. I'm going to come over here and mine out this seam so that there's a few more crystals, because I don't know if they'll have enough back home to build the whatchamajigger. So I'll do that, and that'll hopefully give them what they need. In the meantime, we'll have to keep looking. It is nice how they're introducing the extra vehicles and things in quite a practical manner. They're giving you a vehicle in a mission where you need to use that exact ability. Presumably in the later levels they're not going to do that. They're just going to give you problems, and they're going to trust that you've learned how to use the resources available to overcome them. That's very adorable, Granite Grinder, but it's also not very practical. Could you please sit still while we're drilling things? Right. Where are we? I have no idea whatsoever. I know that I could turn on the radar and... Boing. I know I could just turn on the radar and look, and I'm sure I'd find them quite quickly, but I'm not convinced that's the most appropriate way of doing things. If I just wander around drilling things out, then then that's all the less time I have to spend back at base actually working hard and managing people. I can just sit about in my little craft, breaking stuff and wandering around. Right, seems vaguely hopeful. I think, sort of. I mean, I'm actually doing good things, because by uncovering more caverns, I'm getting more air. Oh, huzzah! This is a serious problem, because this is a very serious problem, actually, because there's now more men and not enough air, and they can't access those crystals because there's a river in the way. Right? Okay. Well, This is a predicament. Oh, blimey. Okay. I have now got to desperately try and find more caverns that I can open so that I can access more air. Yes. And maybe find a pathway through some of here to join some stuff up. A seam tremendous. Right, that will be our saving grace, I think, because yeah, I was sort of wondering why they weren't going to get those crystals, but you know, you live and you learn, or you die and you don't, as the saying doesn't go, because there's just some random contrivance of contraptions that I've just thought up. Let me figure out how the hell I'm going to do this. You're doing all the wrong things. Sincerely. Ah, right. Yes, of course. There's a that in the way. I apologise. Right. We're in a right pickle. A right pickle. Right. I'm just gonna send everybody over to drill that, because then there'll be people there to actually pick up the crystals as soon as we are ready to get them. So yes, here we are. Look, this has got more oxygen in it, which I desperately need because I'm slightly rubbish at this. There we go. Hooray! Brilliant. Not so brilliant. Maltesers are delicious, but we don't really need them because oxygen is ever so slightly more delicious. But never mind. 3 out of 4 in terms of a success rate when it comes to obedience of children, I suppose, isn't terrible. Never mind. Never mind. How under the sun am I going to reconnect these people with base camp? Might there be a way through here? Because it looks like if I could punch through here, then there would be a cavern through here? Yes, I think through here perhaps. I might be able to make a pathway there. Be a bit of a roundabout way of getting there. Bit of a scenic route, but I think we'll manage it. Huzzah! We have oxygen and sandwiches. Because what use is oxygen to mankind without sandwiches to go with it? Right, do I have another objective? Build a geological centre. I'm sorry, where was that in the briefing? I quite literally missed that memo. Never mind. I'm sure I can do that. I suppose actually that would be a good thing to start with, because you would you'd get a good view of what was going on and where you needed to go. Right. What shall we do? Shall we do this in a way which is tidy? I fancy having an upgrade station as well. I'm going to put a piece of power plant there, I think, and then we'll build out from there, and then we'll try and get some more crystals and get a few more vehicles, I think, because that's going to speed things up considerably, because we've got a nice little map here that I want to have a good explore of, and I don't want to leave any crystals behind, despite this being a level that has no crystal requirement whatsoever. Even with the additional and upgraded objectives of the Remastered Campaign. Right. Has that excuse me, has that given us access? Yes, good. It's given us access to those 4. That's marvellous. Let's see what else is about. Yes, if I come over here, that's access to another one, and I can snake my way down there and get that as well, and then we'll be motoring right along. Right, going to focus on the upgrade station first, I think, because we can worry about building the geological centre at the end, I think, and focus on vehicles and crystal collection first, and exploring more specifically. Because goodness gracious, that was a great big mess we made with crystals just flying everywhere, which is a beautiful thing, but at the same time it's just slightly terrifying, because I don't trust any of these remastered levels not to be full of monsters. So I'm just going to drill out all of the walls from where a monster might possibly originate, in order to help me feel ever so slightly safer. Is that another seam, or is that a... I was going to say, is it a recharge? It probably wouldn't be if it was there, sort of on the corner. Alright. I'm saying there's probably loads of recharge seams on corners. Excuse me. Excuse me, I had a cup of warmer milk before this, and it's given me the most frightful set of hiccups. I do sincerely apologise. We're getting quite a few crystals now. I'm wondering... I was wondering if it were possible to build the support station just with the crystals that you could access around here, probably. I mean, if you went off in this direction, I'm sure there'd be other seams that you could access, so I'm sure that would still be a viable strategy. I was wondering if they were, in the design of this level, trying to actually force you to go and find the missing men, rather than just building a station and doing it at your leisure. But no, I don't think they're doing that. Which, I don't know. On the one hand, I think pushing you more towards chasing the main objective of rescuing the lost team would be good. Slightly less frigged frame rate would be even better, but never mind, I will get around to upgrading this computer eventually. But then at the same time, it's nice to have a good bit of variety in levels, in terms of having different strategies that you can employ. Has that been finished building? Yes, it has been finished building. Tremendous grammar there. But yes, it is nice that they don't sort of force you into one system or another, and that they let you pick your own path and your own strategy. And I suppose that gives it more replayability as well, because you can do different strategies in different tries, can't you? We can upgrade the vehicle. Phil just can't see the button because he's as blind as a badger. Right, let's upgrade. Let's not upgrade that because we don't have any ore, because people are busy collecting crystals, because of course they are. Oh dear. Right, never mind. My brilliant plan of getting an upgrade station so that we could upgrade everything and have lots and lots of highly upgraded vehicles scooting around to get all of the work done very quickly has failed miserably, because I was so busy faffing around looking for crystals that I completely forgot to collect any ore. Never mind. Let's just leave home and stop looking at the problem. And with that, we can convince ourselves that there's nothing to worry about and that I am brilliant. Yes, that's how you solve problems. Run away from them, ignore them, and just tell yourself that everything's fine. I'm sure that won't bite me on the arse terribly in later life. I think with the granite grind, if I did have to pick one upgrade out of the two, it would certainly be the drill rather than the speed, because you do spend the majority of your time sat there, especially with the hard rock, sat there just drilling the walls out rather than walking around between different spots. So I think the extra drill is the one that probably should be prioritised. Right, we've got lots of crystals now, and no ore. Or, never mind. Eventually, they'll run out of crystals to pick up, and they'll have to focus on the ore. but not anytime soon, I fear. Okay, that's enough for one more upgrade. And then we're gonna have to keep waiting, aren't we? Yep. Despite this not being a tremendously big map, it's very broken up. It's very sort of segmented, I suppose, because of the little rivers and the little strips of solid rock, which means that the commuting times that people have, for want of a better word, are very long. Like my spat of hiccups. Very long indeed. Which is where the power of the trucks will come in, because of course they can carry so much more, and they can carry it so much more quickly. My grammar today is appalling. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. I was going to say I shouldn't record after a long day's work, but if I don't do that, then I basically never record ever, and I barely record as it is. So I best be careful what I say. So upgraded trucks would be powerful and brilliant, but at the same time, we're not going to get any if we don't get any more ore. Maybe I should, because I feel like if there were going to be monsters, there would have been by now, right? If there were going to be monsters, there would have been a monster by now, right? That makes some semblance of sense, right? So I can probably start, at the very least, bringing down trucks, and then even if they're not upgraded, then that's, you know, that's got to be a significant improvement in productivity, right? You don't have 6 pieces, you have 5 pieces, don't you? So we don't have quite enough, but we very nearly do now. Right, let's get that upgraded. Let's have another little truck, please, and let's have a person to put in the little truck, please. There we go, lovely stuff. And then, yes, you're one of the noobs, which means you're going to have to train. I don't know what kind of curious driving tests they have here on whatever the hell the name of this planet is, but
Hello. Sounds good.
they certainly didn't carry out my driving test by making me do about 6 star jumps in front of a sandwich depot. I seem to remember it was rather more grueling and tear-inducing than that, but we shan't dwell on any of that horror. We'll just be grateful that these little people have something better than all of us did. Right. I reckon. Okay, this is nearly the last one. We'll probably see actually how many vehicles we have. We have 9. Yes, indeed. Which means when I pop this guy in a truck. I was going to say we could pop that guy in a truck, but then actually there's going to be nobody clearing any rubble, which is going to cause us problems. I'm just going to pop a piece of power path there because it's annoying me to have a gap there. So, yeah, if I bring down a super teleport pad, then we can build ourselves a loader dozer. I've played this game for probably a decade and a half, and I still, for the life of me, cannot remember the names of any of the vehicles, which really, really is a shocker, or is possibly just a early indication of my utter mental fatigue. But it's something to look forward to, if nothing else. Not really sure what there is to look forward to about a brain that doesn't work and a memory which doesn't exist. I suppose, now that I come to think of it, if I lost my memory and I wasn't able to remember things, then I wouldn't be able to remember all of the horrible cringy memory from my school days. So, you know, there's something to look forward to. My brain might not work, and I might become a grumpy old person that can't even remember the name of my children, but the names even, or how to speak the English language. So, you know. Something to look forward to. So every cloud has a silver lining. At least I can forget all the awkward moments from the past. Right. I think we are starting to get somewhere on the ore front now that I've turned the crystals off. So let me set up a few upgrades. and then I can leave these people to beaver away whilst I get on with a bit more drilling. Right, where's the Why are you all just sitting there in a nice orderly queue? That's far too well behaved of you. I trust you lot to make mischief. And when you're not making mischief, I get suspicious. Right, we've got enough to upgrade one more truck, I think. Is there anybody else that needs an upgrade? I'm not immediately seeing anybody, so I'm going to upgrade the engine on this since we're quite close to home. Ah, Axel, I'm terribly sorry I didn't see you there. Is there a certain level of cruel irony that I'm upgrading Axel's engine last, given that he's the one who's always going on about wanting to go really quickly? I don't know. Right, let's get him upgraded, and then send this off somewhere to do something I really don't know. Just get on with it before I lose Axel. Where's he gone? I've lost him in the scrummage. Where have you gone, Axel? Stand still. I should have upgraded your bucket first and your engine second so that you were easier to find. Right. Never mind my complete inability to do the most basic, fundamental and highly practiced thing in the game. Never mind. Let's just carry on and see what there is remaining to be seen in this level. So I reckon we've done everything in that sort of direction relative to the base. So let's have a meander around here and see what I've missed. See what I've missed around here. This is an interesting design for a level because you might initially think that it's quite dependent on water vehicles given the amount of water that's here, but actually I don't think water vehicles would be very useful at all because all the little bits of water are quite separated, so having something which can jump over the water and then make little connections by drilling things seems to be a much more reasonable way of doing things. Right. Is this the last little area? I think it might possibly be. I actually have no idea how many crystals we've collected because they're all just packed into vehicles, aren't they? Let's think. If we must have 10 people. Must have 10 people, so we've got the granite grinder and the loader dozers. The granite grinder is 6 crystals, I think. And the loader dozers 5? Not really sure. I'm not really sure. It's difficult to remember these things. For me, I mean, I'm sure for you it's perfectly easy to remember all of these things, but I struggle to remember what day of the bloody week it is, so never mind. But if we've got 8 trucks, they're definitely worth 3 each, so 8 times 3 is 24, so then that's at least probably 30 to 35 crystals or so that we've got in vehicles, plus the 15 or so that we've already got, plus another 10 or so in buildings. So that's... I have no idea, I've already lost track. That's quite a lot. I'm going to come to the very mathematically sound conclusion that that's quite a lot of crystals. Tremendous. Right, now that I have left carnage destruction, that's the word I'm looking for. I was going to say desertion there for a second, that's a different word. Carnage, destruction, and crystals in my wake. I can, oh, that's interesting. So the pathfinding doesn't include making it jump, so presumably it's just going to find the long way around rather than a short way around, which also utilises its jumping mechanic. Interesting. Yes. Is that whoa, hang on, a tizzity tick. I want to finish off these last little bits of drilling that we've missed off. So I'm just gonna have a scoot round from the radar on, radar off, and see what there is that has been missed before we finish up. Are we done on this side of the map? I think we are. What's that? That's the next piece that it's going to. Good. And then there's that little piece there. And then I think we're about finished, actually. I still haven't turned the crystals back on. That's why they haven't been getting crystals in about... I was just about to say. They're being very industrious with collecting all of the ore. Well, of course they are, Phil, because they've got nothing else to do, because you've specifically forbidden them on pain of death to do the other thing that they can do. Oh, blimey, sometimes I forget just how stupid I am. And then I go and do a mentally inspired thing like that, and suddenly I remember. Right, you've earned a ready sandwich. Right, never mind any of that rubbish. There's still quite a lot of rubble and ore that we haven't cleared, but honestly, if I got to the point in all of these levels where I was completely strip mining it to the point of every single wall being drilled, every crystal collected, every piece of ore collected, and every bit of rubble collected, I was going to say we'd be here all year. To be honest with you, with the infrequency of these videos, we're probably going to be here all year anyway. So, you know, we got to pick our battles. Otherwise, we might be here even longer, if that is even physically possible. Right, where do we stand on a crystal front? I'm going to guess we've got all of them because they're only fussing about ore now, and they're all just going to shoot off the moment that 4 more pieces spawn, aren't they? Yep, and one truck will go and get 1 piece. Interesting. Presumably that means it doesn't sort of queue up tasks, so to speak. It doesn't think, right, there's 4 pieces of ore, let's send a truck to get the first piece, and then when that's happened, the next nearest truck will be that truck, so we'll have to pick up the second piece, and the third piece, and the fourth piece, so just send one truck and pick up all 4 pieces and bring them back. Instead, it must just think, right, let's just get somebody assigned to picking up all 4 of these pieces, and then after the first truck has been assigned to the first one, that truck is then busy, and it can't go on to do the others, which makes perfect sense if it's picking people to do these things. Slightly less sense if it's doing trucks. But hey ho, it wouldn't be Rock Raiders without some ever so slightly squiffy pathfinding. Right! As soon as I put that in there, because I'm not going to let my labours go without fruit, and then we'll remember that we haven't finished the level because we actually need to build. There's Phil thinking he's all done and finished and has done a marvellous job. Except he hasn't, because he's completely freaking forgotten to finish the level. But never mind. When I was putting that extra piece of power pop, actually now that I think about it, I could have just gotten rid of that piece and then scooted that forward, and then that would have lined up much more tidily, and that would have been significantly more visually appealing. Anyway, when I was thinking of putting that piece in, I was also thinking of getting rid of that piece. I'm rather glad that I didn't, otherwise I would have had nowhere to build my geological centre. But never mind. What's going on with this crystal? Oh, I see. Somebody picked up a crystal from here, and then went all the way to Aberystwyth to pick up a couple of pieces of ore, and then come back and put the crystal in here. Maybe that's why my mouse hasn't turned up. They put the mouse in the van, and then they decided to drive it all the way to Scotland in order to find something else to put in the van, and then bring it all back. For goodness sake. Good job when you find enough ore to upgrade it. When you have upgraded it enough, look for traces of the missing rock raiders on your radar in the upper left corner. Oh, I see. You really are trying to teach me how the game works. Interesting, right. My goodness, look at that. For a big pulsing scan. That would actually be pretty good, because that would tell you sort of where most of the pathways are in terms of I keep forgetting you don't move the radar around like that. Right. That's interesting, I suppose, in a sort of way. Right, the game is good at teaching, I'm just bad at learning. Right, I think we're done with that now. let's go home, and then we can get on with another mission, which undoubtedly will be very scary.
You're getting very good. You found all the missing rock raiders. Mission complete.
I mean, I couldn't get much worse, could I? Right.
Frozen Frenzy.
Oh, blimey. Frozen Frenzy is an interesting level because, and I suppose in a certain way it has a parallel with Breathless, because it's one of those missions where you can either take a quite slow approach to it, a quite slow and thorough approach to it, or you can take a more blitz approach and just sort of charge through as quickly as you possibly can. As with Breathless, of course, especially in the original formation of the level, you could finish it within a couple of minutes if you knew exactly where you were going and just place loads of dynamite and just charge through the corridor to get into the cavern and find the missing people as quickly as possible. And likewise with Frozen Frenzy, you could just charge off down that corridor on the right, blast your way through as quickly as you possibly could in order to find the tunnel transport. So I am very curious to see what they do with this. But I'm not going to get myself another cup of milk for the sake of causing myself more hiccups, but instead I'll take a moment's break, as much as that level was a good bit shorter than average, which is nice. But should take a moment's break in order to fortify myself for the frozen fracas, which is due next. Right, I have rested my voice, and I have eaten a Pringle, or 3, which now that I think about it was a really stupid way of trying to stop my hiccups, but never mind. I am thoroughly prepared for a fight with some frosty fellows. Let's see what awaits
Frozen
us.
Frenzy. Scanners aboard the LMS Explorer have been monitoring the movement of large, unidentified life forms that appear to be made from ice. We cannot endanger our mining activities and must defend Rock Raider HQ against any possible threat. Protect Rock Raider HQ by using the electric fences, and repair any damage that occurs by training some Rock Raiders as engineers. You will need to fend off any attacks and continue to collect energy crystals until we have enough to transport the Chrome Crusher. The tunnel transporter is in a nearby cave waiting to airlift us to a safer cavern, but our only way of reaching it is by drilling through hard rock with a Chrome Crusher or using dynamite to blast our way through. Take care, Rock Raider.
I'll do my best. Well, they haven't changed the write-up in the Remastered Campaign, so I don't know if that suggests they thought it was scary enough as it was. Right. Get your Rock Raiders some beam weapons, and make sure your base is heavily defended. Yes, indeed. I shall do this thing. Right. No. Shovels second. Shotguns first. That's my motto for life. I don't really think that would have worked tremendously well for human civilization if we focused on murder before we'd focused on agriculture, but I'm sure that we will get there eventually. Right, I don't know which way to go. I don't remember there being hard rock there before. We don't have a tremendous amount of time, so I guess we're just going to have to start drilling and yeah, drilling and hoping and sort of getting on with it. Hopefully there won't be too many monsters. What did I do with the sliders? What did I do with those? What have I done with those? Oh, I left the erosion rates up, because why wouldn't I do that? Because apparently I just love lava. Mr. Lava Lover over here. Ah, dear, oh dear, oh dear. It strikes me we've cleared some rubble, we haven't actually got any ore, have we? Because of course that was all rubble that's been caused by a landslide. Okay, so monster spawn rates and monster strengths are all perfectly default. So that's good, because I think that was causing us some degree of chaos. Certainly wasn't the custom levels anyway, if that corridor of chaos was anything to go by. So let's get this drilled out as well, and then we'll have 4 pieces from there, 4 pieces from there, and then another 12 pieces from there. So that should give us a good amount to get started on. I might build the blimey. I might build the toolstone power station in here, because the further I can keep my base from this sort of general direction should hopefully that's interesting. I don't remember there being a cavern in that direction before. That's a new one. Right, yes, the further away I can keep from the monsters, then the longer they'll have to walk in order to bash up my base. Because as much as we have a rather adversarial relationship, I am caring of the monsters on this planet, and I do so want them to get their steps in. So that's the reason that I am running away and hiding in a corner. It's because I'm worried about their waistlines, and it has absolutely nothing to do with me being an utter coward. And if anybody thinks differently, then they're probably right. So let's get on with a little bit more building. Do we only have 4 people? Yes, we do. Which is a bit of a worry, to be honest. Especially since we're going to have even less air now. But
good timing.
Partly I want more boots on the ground for the sake of moving resources around and getting buildings built, but I also just want more boots on the ground with respect to having a big fight, essentially, because at least until we get the electric fence up, then guns are going to be the best solution to the incoming problem of monsters. Is that a scene? It is. I'm forced to open this cavern to get at that seam, which means I am absolutely sure that inside that cavern is bad news, shall we say. Well, we'll just have to wait and see. I don't think I've got a hell of a lot of choice. There's a seam up here as well. However, these 3 pieces of rock are very, very fond of doing that. So, here's a situation we've all got to deal with. My goodness, they seem to die incredibly easily now. Now that they've been nerfed, so to speak, now that their health buff has been removed by a patch, which I'm sort of grateful it is. I wouldn't mind putting the monster strength back up a little bit, because I don't think it made them unmanageably difficult, but it did make things perhaps a little bit fairer, especially when when you've got like a large mobile laser cutter or a couple of mining lasers defending your base or something like that. Then I think it's more than reasonable to make the monsters a little stronger, so that it's a little bit more of a fair fight, so that it's not totally unscrupulous to defeat them. But I have no idea where I was going with this train of thought. For the time being, we're just going to pretend like it's perfectly reasonable to keep them at such a low level. I think the only thing I didn't really, well, the main thing I didn't like about having the monster spawn rate high was more monsters spawned. The main thing I just didn't like really was that it just meant that 2 monsters would spawn at the same time out of the same rock. If it was like 2 monsters would spawn out of multiple rocks more frequently, then I think that would make things a little bit more natural. But it didn't quite seem right when they were jumping out of the wall at the same time, in unison, so to speak. So yes. Again, I've got no idea where I'm going with this. I'm tired. I am tired, and that's no excuse, but it's the only one I've got so I'm sticking with it. Right, let me upgrade that. Let me pop this down here, and then if nothing else, that'll be the air situation sorted. And thinking about it, we've got just enough crystals to build it and power it. So I might do that first before I go to this scene here, because I don't want to expose another cavern which might potentially have a lot more monsters in it if that's not necessary until I've done a little bit more to prepare my base, because once we've got oxygen coming in, we can bring down 5 more people, and then we'll have twice as many guns, and I can also spare the men to set up some electric fence as a perimeter, so that will keep us a good bit safer. I just think as well how I'm actually going to arrange that. I'm thinking maybe there, and then kind of run it along here to a certain degree. Something like that might be reasonable. I think that might be reasonable. Right. People can start having sandwiches as well. Because of course with all the landslides, people have got several severe brain injuries. So, let's let everybody have their sandwiches. All go have sandwiches, go have sandwiches, go have sandwiches. Right, let me bring down my other people. We'll get them equipped with guns. Where's there you are. You're causing chaos already, and you've only been here 5 seconds. Right, and then you as well, please, and then you. Yep, you. And then where's the last one? Is it you? You look generic enough. Yes, you are. Marvelous. Brilliant. Excellent. We've got that sorted out. Let's sort out the fence next. So, yeah, I think that will sort of do. It's a little bit. I mean, this side is alright because this is relatively far away from the buildings, and this side is alright. This side is a little bit less alright because they could definitely throw rocks from that distance and probably do some quite severe damage. So I might extend the fence out in that direction a little bit, but that piece will fall down when the seam goes. So I think we'll just have to wait and see what there is to be seen. There's a cavern off in this direction as well, which I don't immediately remember. So it looks like there's quite a lot for us to explore and see what we find. Okay, good. A few more crystals. Excellent. What else do I want in terms of base camp? I think a super teleport pad seems intuitive, and probably a mining laser as a turret for base defense would be wise as well. So yeah, and the super teleport pad can go here, and then we can put the mining laser maybe here or here in order to give it good coverage so that it can protect us from numerous different directions of potential attack. Right, what is through here, and how scary is it? Well, I know the answer to the second question. It's not. The first question is the one I'm more interested in. Nothing. Right, excellent. Well, lots, but also nothing. If that is physically possible, but yes, lots while simultaneously nothing. Okay, good. No monsters is what I was worried about, and no crystals which they can gobble if they spawn too close. So that's all excellent. I'm chuffed. Right. Should go there. Should go there. I say we go here because that will give it better coverage from that angle and better coverage from that angle, and. They're saying that we're going to get another. We're going to have another a flank that we're going to need to protect in this direction once these walls come down. So that's going to make things interesting. and a little bit difficult, but that's a problem for later. Right now, there are other things I want to focus on, so I'll turn that off because we don't need it just yet. What I want to do is get a couple of little trucks, probably. I'll never have too many little trucks, or do I want to get a digger? I don't know, there's a fair amount of hard rock in this place. Maybe it would be better just to save up and get a... Yeah, maybe it would be better just to save up and get a better vehicle, like... I was going to say a granite grinder, but maybe actually a large... Interesting. So you won't let me have a ton of transport. If I want to have one, I've got to go and find it. Interesting. That makes sense. Right. We could go off this way, by the looks of things. Yes, and it looks like there might be another cavern off in this direction, but we'll come back to all of that in a sweet minute. Okay. Blimey. Okay, well he's not spawning anywhere near that crystal, which is the most important thing. So I can live with that. Right. Let's arrange for a few things to get reinforced. And let's arrange for a few things to get shot in the face as well. There we are, tremendous. Right. To get all of this stuff reinforced, and then people can focus on some. Yes, sandwiches first, landslides second. That's the order of the day. Right. Could you not worry about that? And no, you couldn't worry about that because you don't have a shovel, which is the thing that you need in order to facilitate the proper worrying about. Right. I do feel slightly bad for them because they're like half dead by the time they come out of the wall, and they've only got to lose 80% of their health before they retreat. It's not really a fair fight, is it? Alright, fine, you talked me into it. Let's put the I can't even find the things, my eyes, they don't work anymore. Let's put the monster strength up to that's interesting. This scales HP and all damage types. So do they do more damage as well as them having less HP if it's lower? Because I was thinking in the back of my brain that the gun seemed to be doing more points of damage, but I'm not actually convinced if that's how it works. Curious that it says at 0% that they won't attack buildings or cause a power drain. What will they do then? I mean, for the slugs, for the monsters, I can kind of understand because they still be walking around, eating crystals, attacking vehicles, and attacking men. But the slugs, the power drain is the only thing they do, because they don't drain crystals that are just sat on the floor. I know that's something which has been suggested, I think, previously, because it's shown in one of the little video clips, isn't it? Them some draining some crystals out of the back of a little truck. But yeah. At that point, you might as well just turn the spawn rate off, for goodness sake. What's the self-damage? Adjust how much damage your units take from self-damage sources such as dynamite and laser. Oh, I see, so you can kind of turn that off if you wanted to, like, turn off a friendly fire type thing. Interesting. That's interesting. This shows you that I don't pay a great deal of attention to these things at the best of times. Dear oh dear. Right, everyone's standing around with a grand total of nothing to do. Brilliant. Right. Anyway, let's get on with something. Where were those found? Those were...
An energy crystal has been found.
Those were found there. Right. That's it. The thank goodness that happened there, because I was really worried for a second it was going to happen here, because obviously the lava monsters can walk over the lava monsters. The lava monsters can walk over the lava, which is completely true and utterly irrelevant. The ice monsters can walk over water, because they're just biblical like that. No, they're I have actually no idea how the science on that is supposed to work, but honestly, who cares? I am going to need to get a rapid rider, I think, if we're going to get any of these crystals, and I do want to get them as quickly as possible before they all get gobbled up. Which is sort of prompting me to change my system of fence. So start on the grey. How can I change this in a way which isn't frightfully messy? I don't really think that I can. Oh, that's interesting. You can put electric fence on these squares. Could you do that back in the base game? I feel like you couldn't. I feel like you couldn't select these squares before. I feel like you couldn't really do anything with them, as if they were a kind of no man's land, so to speak. Anyway, that's neither interesting nor relevant. Let me bring down a rapid rider and put you in it.
What would you do with that piece, Amber?
Give him a little boat so that he can go to sea and collect things. It's perfectly reasonable, if you ask me. Right, yes, that'll sort these things out, and then we can get a drill upgrade on this as well, and sort of explore this area, if nothing else. Looks like that might access a river behind here, so we can explore around. We can explore around a little bit and see what there is to be seen. Right. Now that we've sorted that out, I think I'm going to overhaul my system of fence. No, I'm not going to do it like that. I'm going to do it like... that's messy as well. Not that. Not that. Where's the button gone? There it is. Right, it's in the same place it always bloody was, except I can't remember what any of them are. Stop it. That's really frickin' messy, isn't it? Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. No, I've changed my mind. Sorry, I know you were halfway through designing this, and I'm really sorry, Mr. Architect, that I've just come up and completely upset your plans. But, oh, that's smart. They can actually go and put it somewhere else instead of having to go all the way back. Put it back in the base camp and then go and get another one. That's good. That's clever. I approve of that. Right, let me get rid of this stuff that we don't need, and then I'm going to redesign what we've got over here as well. I think, because that's going to protect us from that angle, which is fine, and that's going to keep the monsters well away from base as well. There's nothing really protecting us from this direction at the moment, which is a bit scary, but we'll live with it. And then I want to create a level of fence on this side as well, to protect from any monsters that spawn out in that direction as much as we can. For the most part, keep it safe by just keeping the walls reinforced so that the monsters don't have anywhere to spawn from. But there we are. If I press all the wrong buttons, like some sort of utter doofus, I'm terribly sorry. There hasn't been any deaths. You're not needed. Kindly go back to bed. He's talking about himself in the third person. Very disturbing. Right. Oh, there were more crystals there. Tremendous. Interesting. Most interesting. Most interesting, because that doesn't actually provide us with the same level of frightening flank that I thought we were going to have to deal with. So that's interesting. Right. If I do that, is that going to be good enough, or are the monsters going to be able to walk through that gap there? I think the answer is yes. I think they're going to be able to walk through that gap, but I don't know that for certain, and I'm vaguely curious just to observe and see what happens to a certain degree. So So there's that. I think I will... I'll put a piece of fence here. And I'll put another piece here. Underneath this bit of wall when this is done. Just so that if on the off chance any monsters did spawn and walk over this water, there would still be something to defend them. Because, I mean, we've still got this, but it's, it would help if I turned the ruddy thing on, wouldn't it? Cannot remember the buttons to save my life. Yeah. To be honest, I put this in a rather stupid place, retrospectively speaking, because all the monsters will be quite far away, or they'll die in the fence. And the ones over here will bash up the docks really before I can get a good shot at them. And it's a bit too far away to be maximally efficient over here. But at least we can get a bit of mining done, if nothing else. For God's sake. Why did I actually no? I did say I was going to do a test, didn't I? Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting because one of two things is true. Either the monster considered going through the gaps and decided that it would die doing that, so figured it might as well just charge headlong into death in the most geometrically efficient manner that it could possibly find, which is something I can respect. Or it's just too stupid to realise that it can go that way and just walk into the fence. Because presumably if the pathfinding knew that it could get through that gap, it would have done so. So that's interesting, which possibly means I've got away with having the fence slightly closer to base than it otherwise might have been. So that's interesting, vaguely. Anyway, right, we're doing all right on crystals, so I reckon we can afford a large mobile laser cutter. So let somebody get in that. I should probably build an upgrade station as well. And now that I think about it, actually, we've got a bit more real estate that I can play with over here. As much as this isn't a frightfully... Actually, I suppose really building a sort of here is probably the safest area, actually, because over here isn't strictly defended because there's no fence there. But, let's see what we've got over here. Oh my goodness, look at this great big dip. It's like the memory foam mattress thing. That's the words I can't think of that a cat's been asleep on. Right, that was a very succinct and precise way of communicating what was in my brain. Right, nobody's got in this thing. Is that because somebody's waiting for this building to get finished so that they can actually upgrade it into its coolest form? No, just stop. Everything. Just stop the world. I want to get off. You just sit there and wait your turn, mate, and we'll watch some. Actually, if he's got a brain, he's going to come over here and destroy this building, isn't he? Right. If I turn that on, what will people actually do? Nothing, because according to them, they can't reach him. Okay. Well, this is a pickle and a half, isn't it? Right. I'm going to have to destroy you before you can destroy the, before you can... You... utter irritant. Before, well, that's interesting. I would have expected him to destroy the docks. The docks doesn't actually require a crystal these days, does it? I feel like it used to back in the day. I feel like it used to require one crystal. So, so that's interesting. Maybe he didn't attack the docks because he knew it wouldn't bring any crystals up that he could then eat. Maybe they prioritize buildings or vehicles that they know have crystals in. Maybe that's how it works. Maybe that's not how it works. I really don't know. I wonder if it would be wise to relocate the docks over here. I think it would. I think that would be a good thing to do. Interesting that it shows all the different purposes of the power path. I'm 95% sure it never used to do that. Interesting that it says it slows down monsters, because to a certain extent it does, but they just stamp on it and destroy it, which I suppose does slow them down. But you know, at the same time, it also sort of doesn't. All right, let's go through here first, actually, because that's a little bit closer to home. Right, let's get that there, and then I'm going to beam that up because we don't really need it anymore. I'll leave the power path there for no particularly good reason. It looks a little bit messy, but that's not overly important, and if anybody does need to walk off in that direction, like to get those bits of ore, they might as well go a little bit faster than otherwise. Right, that's a few bits for you to collect, although I really shouldn't have beamed up that that other docks until we were properly ready to replace it, but never mind, I haven't upgraded the engine on this thing. I haven't upgraded anything, as a matter of fact. I went to the extreme effort of building this infernal upgrade station and never even used the bloody thing. Right. Upgraded the engine. I was just looking to see if you could actually see the engine inside. I don't think you can on this one. I think you can see it on the Chrome Crusher, can't you? Because you can see that it goes from like a kind of a V8 type looking thing, more like to a V10 sort of structure, so to speak. Right, has this been finished? Yes, it has. Marvellous, which means we can finish that. So I shall send you off to drill that seam down, and then I will worry about life. Oh, good, here we go again. Right, okay, well this is going to be another interesting test, because this time he's definitely going to go for the, he's definitely going to go for this, isn't he? I'll shoot you right in the tootsie. Yes. Right, this is an interesting pickle. Do you have a hammer? I don't know. I don't know because I can't find out. So we're just going to have to come over here and hope that you do. Right. Do you have a hammer? Is the infinite question. Yes, you do. I am actually shocked at my complete inability to press the right buttons. Goodness sake. I like that it's got all the little hotkeys because it does make it more efficient for other people whose brains work, unlike me and my brain, which hasn't worked in about 23 years. Alright. That's that problem sorted out.
It calls me back. Wonderful.
Indeed. Right. If you'd be so kind as to stop kissing the wall, then we can think that used to go somewhere before, but never mind. Never mind, that cavern didn't go anywhere, just like me. I'm not going anywhere either. Right, let's have a wee look on here, and what is that, Bristlesman? Of course it is. Oh, good. More monsters. And I was just thinking how this level didn't have enough enormous, terrifying, scary beasts that try to eat and smash everything within about 15 miles. So I'm awfully glad that we've got some more to deal with. Right. Going to mine through here, I suppose. This actually is a really dumb idea now that I think about things. Right, I'm going to see if I can kill this monster. I rather wish I had turned action stations on, but never mind. I wanted to let the people pick up the crystals and walk away with them, which to a certain extent seems to have succeeded. But there's Jet, you utter dirt brain. Do you mind not doing that? Right, okay. Let's deal with this situation. There we go. That's all the monsters dealt with, and now we can get some more crystals. Right, let me drill out a few of the of the walls that look most likely to have monsters spawning out of them, which, to be honest with you, is just kind of all of them. And every time I drill out a wall, I'm going to find some more crystals, which leads to more monsters. So this really is just a very vicious cycle. But never mind. What's the best way of doing this? There we go. There we are. This area is vaguely isolated now, which should keep us sort of safe.
An energy crystal has been found.
On the far side of here. More caverns. Caverns I daren't really go in for the moment, so I think I'll just leave the large mobile laser cutter there as a bit of a sentinel for the time being. I think it is time we brought down some little trucks. So let's get on with that. Well, then I'll give you a bigger engine if that'll make you happy. Yeah, because there's not a huge amount of resources lying on the floor that need collecting, for the most part. But there are long distances between base camp and those resources. And the faster they can get in and pick the crystals up and bring them home, then the less time those crystals spend out and about where monsters might scoff them. So we might as well make use of the opportunities in front of us, and we've got a fair amount of ore as well from people wandering around and doing stuff. So we might as well get a few trucks and get them upgraded. Leave a couple of other people out just in case. Well, partly for clearing rubble, but also because we might want some other vehicles at some point. I'd like another loader. Right. So we've got that scene sorted out. I want to have a look over here and see what's behind here. So it looks like this all connects up into the same sort of a little bit. But I want to see what we're going to find. The answer to that thus far is the grand total of not very much at all. Interesting. Is there anywhere else that you can go? You could come over here, but that wouldn't really do me any good. From where? From where? From there. Right. This is bad. Where's he going? Where's he going? He's going a very long way to somewhere? Ah, he must want to come through here because there's no fence. Right, except by the time he arrives there will be fence. His intelligence reports will be out of date. They will be very unintelligent reports. Right, I'll just get you two out of the way, please. He might destroy a bit of fence, but I can a bit of path even, but I can live with that. Right, now you'll try a different tactic. Where are you? What weakness have you spotted now? There's not a hole in that fence, mate. Ah, he's getting a boulder, because that's definitely going to solve his problems. It's fascinating watching their little minds work. It's like watching rats in a maze. You're just thinking, how does your little brain work? How does your little brain work? I'm trying to suss how the synapses in your brain are firing, so that I can begin to predict how your functions operate. So that was an interesting experiment, if nothing else. We didn't really learn anything, but it was vaguely amusing to watch, and that's good enough for me. Right. We could keep going and exploring this location. I'll get that reinforced just for the sake of it. But I am getting a little bit curious about the tunnel transport itself, because thus far, with the exception of the extra caverns sort of over this way and all this water, there's not an awful lot here which is different to the basic setup of the level. Just get rid of that before it looks like 100 people have been murdered. From where? From nowhere that particularly matters. Right, I'm going to bring you over here, where you're sort of out of the way a little bit, and get you out of there so that you can have some sandwiches. And then, we'll cause a little bit more murder, I think. And this cheeky chappy sticks his face round. I still wish this had a kind of, sort of third-person perspective from which you could do a bit of sniping from, as much as it sort of works like this, but not quite as thematically. Also, am I crazy for thinking that in the original game there was a little man who sat on there when you brought down the mining laser? I can't really remember. I made such limited use of the lasers in the base game that I struggle to remember how they functioned. Again, I wish to have a little experiment. This will be a test of whether they can come through the corners or not. No, they can't. Right, he stepped out of his wall, he took one look at me and thought, blimey, there's a scary man who clearly knows exactly what he's doing. I'd best run away from him. I'm sure that's what he thought. Either that or he stuck his head out and thought, blimey, I'm supposed to be the ugly monster. Look at him. That guy's clearly already got enough wrong with his face. I daren't do him any more damage. Right. Never mind any of that. Prepare to die. Either that or just get vastly improved eyesight, one or the other. My goodness, they've got scary little eyes, haven't they? Scary little beady demon eyes. Right. Yes, I'm just very, very curious to see if they make the tunnel transport harder to find or not. Because I could certainly imagine them making it a longer path to find them, to sort of slow you down a little bit and make you work a little bit harder. But thus far, it doesn't seem like that. Although, can I see a bit of hard rock in front of this? Can I see a bit of hard rock in front of this? A dead end. With the weather. Well, what is going on and where is all of this stuff happening from? Okay, a dead end. The scanner show a hollow area behind and solid rock. Maybe there's another way in. Okay, so there is a more complicated way of doing this. This is a problem, isn't it? None of you are going to walk over there, and there's very few men with guns actually available. Right, you lot stand there and go on action stations, and then you can do a little bit of shooting for me once they get in range. Oh, interesting. Yes, I did sort of slightly notice that. Thank you, Chief. That's interesting. So even though the monster was only here, they wouldn't shoot at him because he was standing on water, which presumably means that their shooting is kind of based on their pathfinding, in the sense of if they can't reach a location, they can't interact with it, so to speak. Interesting. Interesting. Right, let's have a look at the scan and see what we can see. So there's more solid rock behind here, so even if we came through from this angle and broke through here, that wouldn't really do us any good, because there'd still be this level of solid rock here that we'd have to deal with. Interesting. So they definitely are making it more difficult and more complicated. There is a more nuanced way of doing this. Most interesting. Right. Because it's a bit of a pickle, really, because I can't get any of my heavy machinery over here to go in this direction, and I can't really get any of my heavy machinery over here, as much as I don't strictly need it. But I'd be slightly worried of doing that, because if I reveal a lot of crystals here, I'm not really going to be able to get them back to base. So how am I going to do this? With difficulty, I think, is the answer to that question, but I'll just have to focus and do it carefully. So the first thing I want to do is see if I can kind of sneak bandit past the monster. Maybe he's like a shark and only witnesses movement, he says, moving right in front of the bloody thing. Right. Let me leave you there for a moment, Bandit, because hopefully if I destroy this monster, there'll be a bit of a cooldown on the spawn, and that will give us a little bit of time to do some work before another one turns up. So there we are. Yeah, if you hop out of there we are, and I'll set a few bits to reinforce, and we'll get that done, and then I'll try and find the shortest path I can. Oh no, that's hard rock, I can't get through there. I was gonna drill. I thought this was all loose rock and dirt.
Yes, right away.
So I was just going to just drill my way through here in the shortest avenue possible, and then that would open up this area for. Oh, actually no, I think we can do that because we can go through here, can't we? Yes. Okay, so that is still a feasible plan then. That's not a completely daft idea. That's surprising, but most of my ideas are thoroughly daft, so that makes a nice bloody change. Right, while Bandit's working on that for a moment, we'll see what's what over here. Hopefully no more crystals in the water. No, a spot from which monsters can spawn, which is going to be very difficult for me to deal with, because even a Rapid Rider wouldn't do any good over there, because I don't think the Rapid Rider can drill through hard rock, can it? I don't believe so. So I suppose I'll just have to leave the large mobile laser cutter there as a sort of sentry, and then if any monsters do turn up, then we can shoot them before they come towards the mainland and do us any proper damage. So yes. Right, if we drill through here as quick as we can, do some reinforcing as quick as we bloody can, because this is exactly what I'm frickin' worried about. But yeah, because as soon as we break through here, then all the other men can come over here and access this, and we can just sort of mine out this section more thoroughly. So I've only got to get through this piece and this piece, I think, and then we should be home and dry, although I'm going to reinforce that first. No, leave that alone. Leave it alone! Stop it! You're disobeying a direct order. I was going to say from your superior. No, from your significantly inferior superior. But don't worry about that. Just get on with what I tell you to do.
Wait, what?
I really have no idea, sir. You speak in a foreign tongue of sea shanties and such like. You think after all the hours we spent playing that Sea Dogs game, you think I'd have the faintest idea what they were on about by now. But no. Right, I don't think there's any way I can access this area either, is there? No. No, I don't think there is. We really do need that tunnel transport. I like how they've laid the level out. It makes me want a tunnel transport, because I want to be able to carry this thing around and move it past the water, but I can't do that. Right, let me set a lot of this to drill out, and then we can be getting on with that. And then what under the sun are you even trying to do? Would you just I was going to say stop it, but actually no, now that I think about it, it probably is a good idea if you get on with it. Could somebody go and finish that bit of rubble there, because it's sort of irritating me a little bit that it's not being finished properly. Speaking of things which never mind that, I was going to say, speaking of things that are irritating me, it's annoying that the fence isn't here instead of here, where it's slightly messy. But then because that's an even number of squares, that would also be messy to sort it out there, but never mind. Right, let's do a bit of mining over here, see what we find, if we find anything exciting, and then we'll go off and have a look at that hard rock, which is the main thing I want this machinery here for. Right. Yes. Let's not do that. Let's be incredibly glad that that didn't hurt anybody. Let's,
An energy crystal has been
Oh no, with that recharge seam there, that's going to block the path. I'm not going to be able to get through. Oh, bloody hell. Another dead end. That recharge seam looks unstable now. Perhaps if it collapses, the path will be revealed. Will it? Because I don't think it will. Because the only way I can get rid of that seam is if I destroy that piece of ore. But then that will get rid of, you know, these squares here. By which you do not refer to their unsociable nature, I refer to their geological rockiness. The words. I understand science. No, I don't. Right. But that's not going to help me get through here. Unless, like, this piece is tied to that piece somehow in, like, the programming, and that piece is going to fall down, or so it's scripted to fall down, and that piece goes. I don't really know. But what I do know is what it wants me to do, which is to go round this way and come at it from the other angle. Perhaps we need to do a kind of pincered attack instead of attack from 3 different angles in order to finish this off more thoroughly. Interesting. It's doing a very good job of making a very interesting level. Right. I would like to turn the power for that thing back on and bring a loader dozer down, I think. For no particularly good reason. But let's get that upgraded. There we go. And then that can all be beavering away whilst we explore in this direction. Right! Actually, what I'm going to do before I do that is set my radar to follow this. There we are, and we'll zoom out a little bit. Blimey, I'd forgotten about you. And see what we find! Other than utter freaking chaos, destruction, and doom. But other than all of those lovely things, what are we going to find? Right, I'll try to drill out as much of this as possible so that there are fewer opportunities for that to happen. My goodness. Hopefully those trucks will get here and take those away nice and quickly. There we are. I was gonna let you go, but no. I was, but then I decided you were being too cheeky, or possibly just too hungry, one or the other. And no, I'm just going to murder. I am going to viciously murder these poor creatures that have just stepped out of their homes in order to pick up a quick takeaway. That is what I'm going to do, because I'm just that much of a lovely bloke. Blimey. Time to murder another bloke looking for a takeout. Well, something's getting taken out, mate. It's you. I'm sure his tactical retreat had everything to do with my intimidating talking, and nothing whatsoever to do with the fact that I just shot him about 3 times in the arse. Oh, blimey, there's a lot of bad stuff going on from that direction. Set that to reinforce, just to try and minimise the opportunities the monsters have for the manufacturing of much mayhem. And oh, blimey, I really rather wish I hadn't come anywhere near here. Okay, right. So long as okay. This is interesting. There's no way the fence is going to kill all of them, is there? Nope. At least some of them are going to sneak through. Right. Quite a lot of them are going to sneak through, actually. That's a bit worrying. Right. Are you going to... Oh, I thought you were... Well, you did walk through the fence, which was lovely of you. But, you didn't die in the fence, which is less lovely of you. So, I frankly think that was frightfully rude of you, and you need to go to some etiquette classes, because the first thing that they teach you in etiquette is work outwards to inwards from your cutlery, and the second thing they teach you is to walk into the bloody fence and die. I'm sure that's exactly what they do. I've never been to an etiquette class, as I'm sure you can tell, but I'm confident that is precisely how they work. Right, I'm going to get rid of these guys because just I don't like them. To be quite frank with you, it is that simple. I don't like them, and they're scary. Ugh, my goodness. You know what? I was going to say, you know what they remind me of? No, they don't remind. Well, they do remind me of something that I promised you I will get to in a minute. But I want to have my boring tangent first. But no, they don't remind me of it just because they're the same thing. They're not similar to this thing. They're just the same thing. But seeing them reminds me of Berg, I think his name was, presumably a play on Iceberg, from Lego Racers 2, from the Arctic world. The boss from that world, if I remember correctly. I think he was an ice monster as well. He had quite a different appearance, though. He had a much more, well, icy appearance, I suppose. These guys look almost snowy to a certain extent, but I think he had a more sort of shiny blue sort of texture. A lot more like the water sort of texture looks, rather than... You do not make a beeline to any of my men, for goodness sake. You leave them alone. Yes, yeah, he was obviously based off a rock monster, which is interesting because if I remember correctly, the Arctic theme didn't actually have any. We definitely didn't have anything resembling a rock monster in it. If I remember correctly, the closest thing the Arctic theme had to any kind of an enemy was some polar bears, which, to be honest with you, could have been the subject of the expedition and the study which the people on the Arctic theme were actually doing anyway. If I remember correctly, most of it was like little fossils and things they were looking for. It's difficult to tell with LEGO themes, given that, you know, there's no words. There's no words to go along with it. There's just pictures that you use to make up your own story, which is, you know, the power and the joy of these things. But no, if I remember correctly, most of it was most of the things they seemed to be looking for were little. Was one of them a little? I think they were like little scorpions and spiders and things, which were encased in little blue transparent versions of the rocks that came in the Rock Raiders theme. You know, the ones that are like the pieces of ore, except much larger, which was sort of made in two parts. You sort of take the top off, and there was a stud inside that you could put a crystal in. But they're I'm pretty sure they were blue transparent versions. Dox, you're a dingus. Dox the dingus. Right, is he? Yes, he has eaten that. Interesting, right. I thought he might get stunned by the stupidity of his action. No, I thought he might get stunned by the shot, but I don't think that happened at all. Right, what the hell is behind this? A lot of recharge seams? Yes. Most interesting. Right, never mind. Yes, no, I think it was like little fossils or something which they were looking for in the Arctic theme. And they'd have like little spiders and scorpions and things which were inside those bits of ice. If I remember correctly, they usually come in quite sort of crazy colours as well. I think some of the little spiders and scorpions and things were made of like translucent red plastic and that sort of thing, which is quite interesting. Must have been quite a probably the only place you could find that sort of colour of those pieces, either for a very long time or possibly forever. Actually, I can't think of any other place where they would have used things like that, except for sort of magical space scorpions and things in Star Wars themes and that sort of thing. So yes, that was a long, boring tangent that nobody cared about, but we went on anyway for reasons that that are fully uncomprehendable. Right, these monsters should be dealt with as well. Really, I shouldn't just leave them standing around. So I'll wonder why you're standing still. Why won't you go over there? Why won't you do what you're told? Right, I'll leave these guys to work on this area for frick's sake. Right, those monsters are not going the direction I thought they'd go. I thought they'd go that way towards the crystal that's lying on the floor, but no. Instead, they've decided to go... Oh, of course. I'd completely forgotten that if men are walking around holding crystals, then of course they're just going to drop them, aren't they? And then the monster would be able to eat those crystals. I'd never thought of that, of course. That's why they were going that way. They were trying to intercept that man so they could steal his crystals. Right. That makes sense, unlike the frame rate. Why does the frame rate seem to pick up when I stay? Is it just because I stop doing stuff? Is that why? Because I just do less stuff so the frame rate has a chance to pick up? Or is it that it gets scared of me? And it worries what I'll do. Don't tell the frame rate that I'm not going to do anything because I don't know how to do anything. I don't really know what to do to fix it. Sometimes it just seems to be a problem in OBS. It's not actually that much of a problem when we actually get into the recording to edit it. But hey ho, there's not a hell of a lot we can do. Oh, of course they went that way. They couldn't go that way because there's not a big enough gap for them to go through. Right. I was assigning stupidity to them when in reality they were just doing what was physically possible, rather than stretching the bounds of what is I was going to say humanly achievable, monstrously achievable. I don't know what the official species name is. Mind you, I suppose since well, nobody provably sentient lives on this planet, then I guess it's up to us to provide a scientific name for these creatures. Because I suppose there's nobody else around here that's given to it, is there? I don't know what the Latin word for monster is, but I think we should take a leaf out of the book of the scientific name of the rat and the gorilla, and just call it monstrous monster. So or monster, I suppose it would be, because it's not ratty rat or gorilla-y, is it? It's just gorilla and ratus. So that's a problem. There's no need to get grumpy at her because she drove away with your dinner. She's going to shoot you in your butt cheeks. A laser for each. Zap, zap. Marvellous. You might have big arms that you've clearly developed in the gym. Well, congratulations for that, but it's not going to stop me from shooting you in the face. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Right, are we still well protected with respect to fence? We haven't opened up any other avenues of attack, have we? I don't think so, no. Good! Cool, blimey. Right, what have we got over here? Yeah. This should allow us to, there we are, it's better. This should allow us to reach the back of the recharge seam. Let's see what happens. Hooray! I was right, it was tied to it with some sort of scripty thing. Right! Brilliant! Excellent! I'm gonna wait for people to come and collect these before I do any further mining, because I don't think monsters can spawn out of seams. I don't know if that's because you can't reinforce a seam, can you? No, you can blow it up with dynamite, or you can drill it, but you can't reinforce it. So presumably that's there to sort of balance that, in the sense that if you can't reinforce it, then you're sort of forcing the player to leave themselves vulnerable to a certain extent. But if monsters were able to spawn out of it, that is, which thankfully they aren't. So I might just leave these crystal seams here, because we're not really desperate for them at the moment, and I'd rather wait until I've got to the other end of the cavern and hopefully destroyed all of the potential spawn points before I expose those crystals. Huzzah! You have uncovered the cavern. Ow, my face. Containing the tunnel transport. This will now take all of your rock raiders to safety. Marvellous! Oh, huzzah! I did just everything. Brilliant. That's nice. It's a nice little waterfall, and that's an interesting little thing to have an explore with. Interesting. Right, we've got an extra person, and there's a thing there we could have a little look at as well. That's most interesting. Come over here. I wish to do a scan. Okay, that wouldn't actually lead us anywhere. I'm still sort of curious to see where it would go. Please, how am I going to do this without accidentally shooting the power station? The answer to that is very carefully. Right, here we are. Just have to shoot over the roof. Not really sure what that's achieving or why that's there, but hey ho, it's a thing that happened. Right, while we're here, we might as well fix that. I'm just going to throw another power station, support station even, in just for the sake of the fact that we've got an additional jet now, and I don't want to That's interesting. I don't want to be running out of air. That's interesting. That is interesting. What does it actually say that is? It doesn't actually say it's anything. It's curious. Because on the map here it shows us ground, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. It doesn't show us anything. It's showing us the colour of ground, but it's not actually coming up with a prompt to describe what it is, which is interesting, because the reason I was clicking on this initially is because I was wondering if this was 2 squares wide, because of course you can't have a piece of rock which is only 1 square wide. You know, if there's a piece of rock here, it will just fall down because it can form a corner, but then there'd be nothing to support it on this side, so it would just fall down. So it needs something to support it on 2 sides, otherwise it will just fall down. So yeah, I was a little bit curious about that, because if that was just 1 wide, then there should be nothing. It should only be being supported on 1 side, and it would fall down. But that's interesting. It's very interesting indeed. Curious. I wonder how they've wangled that one. Right. Never mind any of that rubbish. I want to go on a little. Oh my goodness. My goodness, there really isn't enough room for this. There really isn't enough room, but never mind. Don't worry about that. At least we can see the texture of the roof, which is a rarity. Right, let me do a bit of shooting in this direction and see what we find. That is a long, long cavern. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This cavern just ain't big enough for the 2 of us. Goodness, this is not a problem which can be solved by a duel. Right, let's see what we've got on the other side of here. Does this look like anything we could access? Maybe through there? I'm not seeing any other opportunities to do that. I'm also not going to look at the radar because I want to explore more naturally. Yes, again, we have a long twisting cavern that seemingly doesn't go anywhere, but again we've got another small opportunity to continue. And again, I think I might just let the tunnel transport drive itself, because it seems to have a much better idea of how to do this than I do, which should come as a surprise to the grand total of nobody. Oh, interesting. Well, we found the arse end of that big load of recharge seams that we noticed on the map, which is interesting. But there's not really anything here of greater interest. Well, that was interesting. Went on a bit of a geological expedition and saw something vaguely interesting, so that's all interesting, isn't it? Right, I'm now slightly curious to see what's on the arse end of this pathway, and whether that will again lead us in another direction over here to see another great big chunk of all this. And then I think there'll just be this little area to look at, and this little area. I was saying now that does lead into quite a big area potentially, and I could see some little variations in the terrain here, which they probably wouldn't bother putting in if it was just a load of solid rock. So yes, we'll have a little look at that, and then I reckon we'll be about done. Right. Oh, good. More monsters. Marvellous. How simply marvellous. Oh, blimey. We've...
What the hell is that thing there? It's massive! It's the king of all monsters! Wait. Okay. It's not okay. Right. Okay. How, I thought things were gonna calm down.
Never underestimate the developer of this game. Right. Okay, how are we going to do this? My initial thought was to drop the large mobile laser cutter down, but that would actually be a really dumb idea, because then the tunnel transport would just drive over there and wake everybody up. So what I'm going to have to do instead... I'm tempted to put the strength slider back down. I'm not going to, because I think that would be a bad thing to do. Oh, I'm trying to think of the best way. I'm trying to think of the most strategic way to... That's really interesting and cool and scary, and I'll deal with it in a moment. But first I need to deal with one problem at a time. Okay. Because my worry is if I shoot that guy, he's going to walk over there and wake up that guy, and then I'm going to have to deal with two at the same time. So I think this is the guy I should shoot first. So let me try and kill this guy, and hopefully kill him before he's able to eat anything. Here we are. I don't care if it drains crystals, they can get recharged back at home. Okay. And then I'm going to try and do the same thing with you. I'm just trying to be as strategic as possible and get rid of people in a very carefully calculated manner. That massive monster is really interesting. He's got... What, is he a big one as well? He's a bit bigger. He's definitely a bit bigger, isn't he? Interesting. No, you're not getting any of those crystals. You're going to fall over and die, and that's going to make me tremendously happy. Right. Okay. That big monster is going to have... That big monster is going to have lots of health, isn't he? I think that if I can get rid of this guy without anybody else waking up, then I think I can possibly leave the oh feck. Oh feck. No, this is all bad. Don't you frickin' dare escape! Okay, right. Is he gonna get satiated at some point and leave, or is he just gonna stand there and eat crystals for the rest of life? Because if he's going, well, I mean, he's going to eat crystals for the rest of his life, because his life is going to be terminated in about 15 seconds. The question is can I kill him before he walks out of here? The answer to that is hopefully yes. Okay. Right. Victory is mine. I think. Cool. Blimey. Right, okay. Calm down. Everything's fine. I'm gonna drop that off there, because now that most of the monsters have gone, I think we can just leave the tunnel transport to collect all the crystals, take them home, and escape with them without having to worry about anything. Oh my goodness gracious. Monsters better not spawn out. I'd actually better get rid of these walls now that I think about it, because if monsters do spawn out of them, we're going to be in a right little jam. Which I do not refer to an enjoyable boiled fruit and sugar which you put on your toast in the morning. I wish that I did. That's interesting. Terrifying, but interesting. I suppose I should have seen that coming, really, because the other recharge scene was sort of scripted to fall down and break, wasn't it? Right. Okay. At least now the little trucks can get over here and can collect all of these crystals safely. So, so that's good. My goodness gracious, I don't know how I didn't think of them doing that, because that seems an obvious thing to do, but just taking the model of the monster, scaling it up into a great big behemoth, and then giving it a buttload of health, and then just sitting it next to a load of yummy crystals, seems an obvious thing to do, if admittedly a bit scary. Oh my goodness. That is not a trick you pull on me an hour and 45 minutes into a recording. I mean, I'm glad they didn't pull that trick on me at the start, otherwise that genuinely would have been the end of me. My goodness gracious. I love that you walked all the way over here to the arse end of this map and then decided to go home for a sandwich. Dumb bastard. Oh my goodness. Okay, right. Let's give these guys a little bit of time to get their crystals a tad further away, and then I can deal with this little trifecta of troublesome troglodytes. Oh my goodness. Right. We have the high ground, and I shall be victorious. Oh my goodness. Yeah, these ones must be a bit bigger, mustn't they? Because they're not... No, these ones are normal size, because they're spawning with 150 points of health, because I've put the sliders up, aren't they? I was thinking they were... My goodness, I don't need to be that close to your dying eyes, man. Yeah, these ones are just... No, because look, he's only got 100 points of health. There must be some sort of in-the-middle sized ones, versus this guy's pretty big, isn't he? He's not quite as big as the Big Mama Monster we saw before, but he's definitely a good bit bigger than others. My goodness, making them bigger really does go a long way to making them a lot scarier. Oh my god, and the big hooked nose as well, making them look like some sort of abominable snowman. It's really very scary. It looks like they're moving slightly slower. Is that because they've sort of... Well, I mean, if you scale up the model and their legs are longer, then they can, you know, their stride should naturally be longer, which means they would walk faster. So, have they had to slow down the animation to sort of compensate for that fact? Because otherwise it would sort of look like they were walking on a treadmill, if they were just sort of walking in place rather than... without, you know, not moving along in time with their feet, so to speak. Is that really the closest recharge scene that you could find? No, there was one here. Come on, Jed. We're better than this. Well, you are anyway. I'm not, but here we are. Oh my goodness gracious, this level. This level will be the death of me, and this is only Frozen Frenzy. If this is what it can pull with Frozen Frenzy, what the hell are we going to see when we get to places like Back to Basics and Hot Stuff and Rocky Horror, for crying out loud? My goodness, that is going to be a horror show, and no mistake, by which I primarily refer to my own incompetence. Right, that crystal really has been drained. It's been drained to such a degree I can't even see the bloody thing anymore. Is it going to respawn properly? It's finished? Nope. I think there is a small possibility that some of our people are beginning to hallucinate, which is less than excellent, but never mind. Let's just hope that one of the work perks of being on the crew of the LMS Explorer is good health insurance. Probably isn't, but let's hope that it is. God blimey. Oh my goodness, I'm so tired. I want to go back to bed. Oh, this has been a lot of fun. This has been a very, very, very fun level to play through. This has been very, very interesting to explore. Rather wish I hadn't let the this go actually, because I think I'm gonna need it again to get over this water. My goodness gracious! Please tell me that there is not a massive freaking slug waiting for me in one of these levels. Oh my goodness. If that happens, then I am going to be truly, truly frightened. But for the time being, I'm going to pretend like that definitely isn't going to happen, and we'll just roll along because ignorance is bliss, and I am blissfully ignorant. Okay, no more monsters. Tremendous. That's what I like to see. My goodness gracious. I'm also very grateful that, because I appreciate the Remastered Campaign, it's been out for quite a long time, and I assume that most of you have probably have either played through it yourself already, or have perhaps seen somebody else play through it. So I'm very grateful that that nobody has spoiled anything by letting me know about any surprises. So I'm very grateful that people have been providing tips and advice whilst simultaneously not spoiling any of the surprises to come. So I'm grateful for that. That's most kind of all of you. Because my goodness, that was a shock. I didn't expect that. I'm alive. It's interesting because that's the sort of... If I'd known that was coming at all in the Remastered Campaign, I would assume that would be left for Rocky Horror. Like that seems like a right proper crescendo to me. That seems like a thing you leave right for the very end. That's the ace in your deck. So if that's what they can pull out this early on in Frozen Frenzy, which is an important level by with no understatement, but there's so much more yet to come. And what precisely is all of that going to bring? Because it's all a bit scary. I don't know. Just no giant slugs, please. No giant slugs, and no. I know these are called small spiders, but that is not a call to arms for you to make a massive one. All right, it's not needed. Otherwise, I'm going to have to turn the arachnophobia mode on, which, if I remember correctly, is utterly daft. What? What? Why would you... Oh, there we are. What? I did... What? Why can't I make this thing work? Work, damn you! What? Why can't I get this bloody thing to work? Never mind. Never mind. I can't remember. Surely I've shown that to you before. Surely we've explored that and discovered that together at some point. But never mind. For some reason I can't get that to work. Maybe that's the sort of setting you have to change in the main menu when you're not in a mission. Maybe it can't change them in front of you, so to speak. Maybe it has to sort of change them when there aren't any there, or change it on the main menu. I don't know. That's a thing we can worry about on a different day. Right. I think we're about done. By which I mean that I'm about done in. Never mind. Bloody hell. What a level, eh? What a level. I would have been impressed just with the new design of the level, with the extra water. I like that it's got an extra river in it, because it doesn't sort of really make sense just to have a river here and nowhere else, so that's a nice touch. I like that you have to take a more sort of pincered approach to get through here. That's cool. I like the sort of scripting of certain walls to fall down, because it doesn't make it quite so obvious as to how you get through, so that's cute. I like that. This was a nice touch as well, having sort of the extra monsters around here to make it a little bit more tense. That was lovely. And this speaks for itself. I mean, even saying that, it is inspired, It is genius. It is cruel, and it is hilarious. It is all the best things and all the worst things in one enormous, terrifying package. So, that's enough of all that. I am done. I'm going to bed now. Blimey.
Got the tunnel transport just in time. Good going. Mission complete.
Yes. Cool. Blimey. Right. What's next on the agenda of mayhem?
The road works.
I might put the slider for the erosion back down.
What a lot of fun.
Oh, which one's that? That is... That's the one where you start on this side of the river, isn't it? And then you have to come over to this side of the river and repower the docks, if I remember correctly. If I remember the Baz version of that level, it has a lot of snaking caverns that go all around, which I don't think the original ever had. Right. Well, that's that. That's another 2-hour video. Excellent. Well, the time when the videos were, I mean, they were short, but they were shorter, seems to have already passed. But never mind. Never mind. Frozen Frenzy seems like the sort of level I would have done on its own, but obviously we couldn't do that on its own. So hey ho, and I didn't know it was going to be that long. But anyway, never mind. That's more of that. I apologise that you had to hear the clicking of the mouse the whole way through, and I apologise that it was an utter crit and bollocked up most of it. But hey ho, we got to the end, and this time nobody died, which is more than I can say in the last couple of videos. So that's excellent. I say nobody died. A lot of your Ice Cube brethren died. Goodness gracious. Man alive, those big monsters, that was something else. I don't know how I never predicted that being a thing that they'd think of, because it seems such a natural evolution of the concept, but goodness gracious. Anyway, that's enough of all that. That was some more of Manic Miners. I rather hope that you enjoyed that. Thank you very much for joining me this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Look after each other, and good night.